Welcome to another Top 3 LThan3 2012 video. And whose could this possibly be, I wonder? Well, of course, it's mine, because I have great taste.
And then you go to the match.
I know, right? I'm sat here, just beams of light pouring down on me. So, of course, I'm joined for this one by Mr. Kel.
Hello.
Somewhere. There you go. And Mr. Fluke.
Soup.
There you go. Mr. Search is away enjoying his new year. So, this would be The Walking Dead. Have either of you two played this?
I haven't. I've heard so much talk about it, but it's another one of those I haven't gotten around to playing.
Yeah,
There's a lot of games are seemingly making that list, and it's a list that I didn't realise it was as expansive as it is, and I've got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, I mean, after having watched Kells, you know, we did Kells a few days ago, and his games I'm going to pick up now because of the video, so I can understand from you. You're like, well, I've played none of these. I've got so many to pick up. You may be surprised though. You may have played some of the ones on my list, so don't worry too much.
Okay.
But Walking Dead. The Walking Dead, of course, was a point-and-click game from Telltale. It released in 5 episodes, each one more depressing than the last.
Oh.
As you're about to see, I picked a bit of footage that basically shows off just some of the choices you have to make, and the standard way that, you know, it plays out, and some of the puzzle-esque elements that you're given. But this is a kind of game where you are given multiple choices pretty much all the way through the game, and your choices, even from episode 1, will permeate throughout the entire thing. The game is truly determined by the choices that you make. And it's an interesting take on point-and-click games, because whereas you'll normally play a point-and-click game and it'll be a case of the story's already laid out for you and you just kind of have to rub stuff in the universe against other stuff, and occasionally you're given split choices and it kind of plays out in a quirky way, but the endings, you know, always the same. This completely takes everything and turns it on its head. The choices that you make are moral choices that affect other characters' lives. The puzzles are things that you wouldn't really expect them to be, like, how do I get up to a room without the zombies getting me? And, you know, you can die, which isn't something that you see very often in point-and-clicks.
Yeah.
And it's just a fantastic all-round game. Its story, I'll be honest, it's truly about the journey more than anything else. That's the one big key thing I'm going to say about this. Like, if you're after a fast game, or you're after a game that involves you actually doing a lot of stuff, like, you know, I was like, okay, like, no. I know how this goes. I know how to get someone out of a bear trap like this. There is only really one way. It's like, you've got an axe, surely you can just cut through the leg, right, in just one go. No. You failed to get through the leg in one go. But surely 2 goes, right? No. You failed to get through the leg in 2 goes. But don't worry. 3. 3 times the charm.
3.
No. You have failed to get through his leg in 3 goes. But don't. There you go.
Thankfully you passed out.
Wow.
Yes. So there you go. You can see up in the top corner. If you're playing, there are 2 settings. You can have the minimal UI, or you can have the standard one. Minimal means that it doesn't pop up indicators. It doesn't tell you when you've made important decisions or any of that kind of stuff. So that was like it popping up and telling you that you made an important decision, which was you cut the dude's leg off. And this is gritty, and this is dark, and this is really a survival story. And you're gonna see just here, like, you know, this will play out this way no matter what. And that guy will die.
Damn.
But the actions that you take after that, and the way that you treat characters, and the way that you talk to characters, is how your story will then play out.
Right, so it's more about the moral choices you make.
Yeah, you're gonna see some of those choices coming up. They're not so much some of the bigger, heavier choices, but you'll see some of them, and it kind of just shows you, like, there are quick time events in this game. There is, like, pressing Q And a lot of them are things like you have to press Q to actually like survive a situation where a zombie's got you, and you literally press Q, 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 and then you'll see the things come in, and you'll press E. And, you know, that could be quite irritating because, oh, it's a quick time event. But you don't notice it that much because the game lulls you into false senses of security at times. But you learn very quickly that even though this is a point-and-click game, and even though it's a very story-driven game, you cannot take your mouse hand away from the mouse.
Yeah, you've got to pay attention.
You'll see why in a few seconds, or about a minute, when we actually finally emerge from the hedge. So this is from episode 2, and you're playing a character called Lee, and you'll always play a character called Lee. And I must admit, I don't like Lee too much, if I'm brutally honest, because he's the kind of character that when you inspect a fence, he's like, that's a pointy fence. And it's just like, congratulations, Lee, you're a smart man.
Okay. So if you were to kind of put down a rough length of each episode, because obviously episodic game with 5 episodes, how long would you spend on each one?
A few hours on each episode.
Bloody hell.
But there, right, you see the bar going across at the bottom?
Yeah.
The little white bar. This is essentially how chat plays out and how a quick time reaction event plays out. All the chat is like this. Like, there are the standard Q to E's of, you know, pressing Q and E, ironically. But this is how all chat in the game plays out. There are a few where you have time to make a choice, where it doesn't actually give you the timer. But they are few and far in between. This is the main way that most chat will play out in the game.
Like a default option that you respond with if your timer's left?
If you don't respond, essentially it's the dots. If you don't respond, they will take that as a non-response.
Right,
Nice.
so it's just
And
a
they will
comprehensive
react
conversation.
accordingly.
That's cool.
I like that.
There are times when I'm not sure if it plays out in this one. I'm hoping so. Like, so this is 2 of the characters arguing about who wants leadership of the group.
Yeah.
That's what you're seeing here.
That all
And this is a case of this is stuff that happened in the first episode that is kind of trying to come to a head. It doesn't quite come to a head yet. I'm not going to give too much spoilers, but there. See, like, you can... Lily's right, Kenny's right, Godwin. But then, see, I've tried to be like, it doesn't matter who's in charge. That's not how this works. And then they both get pissed. See, and it's like, you tried to stay neutral and sucked. Every choice you basically make in this game will piss someone off.
I see. So it's a careful game of diplomacy as well.
No, because you can't stay middle in any of this. At all. You cannot stay middle. Because you will then have characters like, if you try to balance it out and you're like, well, I helped him last time, so I'm going to help her this time, then you'll actually see, like, I tried to do that in my episode 1 playthrough. I tried to do that, and you're going to see it referenced in a few minutes' time. But, well, you might see it referenced in a minute's time. But the game it's all about story. It's all about experience. It's all about this wonderful connection that you see. So here's a puzzle aspect coming up. You have 4 items. You have to feed these 10 hungry people. And that is how it plays out. You are given these items. You have to determine who of the group you want to give them to. And I went and tried to give one to a guy, and he was like, have you fed my kids yet? And it was like, And then he was like, look, I'm thinking of Kenny, that guy. So you see he's got the RV. If you go to talk to him and you're like, hey, I want to come with you, if you're thinking of leaving, depending on your actions in the first episode, he'll either say he trusts you or he doesn't trust you. And that plays from you. And if you try to stay level, he'll be like, I can't trust you. You don't have my back.
Interesting.
Can you give me a hand real quick?
So it's a case of you can try and stay level and crap will go wrong. You can pick sides, crap will go wrong. But it's such a brilliant story, and the way it creates the characters, it's slow, yes, but it's brilliant. And the only thing I would say about it is that Lee is somewhat dislikable. That's the only bad thing I can really say about this game. Apart from that, this is like, you know, if you like your point-and-click games, if you're after a point-and-click with that's an experience and such a good one, you really do need to take a look at this.
That's getting added to my list.
Drawing a list on my whiteboard.
Yeah.
Just added this one to it.
Yeah.
It's it's good, but I think we should leave Lee and move on to an interesting choice that made my list.
Okay.
Now, this one you should recognize, Xander.
I do.
Yeah. So, this
made me very uneasy. I'll outright and say it made me very, very uneasy. We did an OST on this one, and that's as much as I'm willing to say on that.
This made my list for one specific reason. I've never fallen in love with a character as much as I did Alan Wake. I have never fallen in love with a world as much as I did Alan Wake.
Okay.
Just the way it played out and everything played out. But this nearly missed my list because we were sat there discussing like what requirements and presets were for these lists, and it was like, can Dark Souls be on one of our lists? And it's like, it was pretty much a direct console port.
Yeah.
So you can put it on your list if you want, but wouldn't really.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't qualify. And then Alan Wake. Alan Wake is a port. The Alan Wake on PC came out this year. The Alan Wake from last year came out last year. But it was such a successful port, and it wasn't really a port. It was pretty much a complete rewrite of the game for the PC.
At the time, I was impressed with that.
It was essentially a complete rewrite of the game for the PC. And that's one of the reasons it made my list. Like, Dark Souls would have been on my list if it had have been as good as this. This was on my list because they went above and beyond. They covered their costs in the first, like, 24 hours.
Wow.
That this was out. That's how successful the PC version was.
It's making me uneasy watching this. It really is. It's a very unnerving game.
You didn't ever play this, did you, Cal?
No, I haven't. I watched your video and I kind of had to pause it a few times to just kind of take a breather.
So do you know much about it?
Outside of what was in the first glance and second thought videos you did, I don't.
Okay, so like I'm rusty in this, so I'm like, hang on, how do I dodge? But so you are playing a character with Alan Wake, and you are a writer, and your love interest, in air quotes, as you know, there is always in this game a love interest. She's your partner, your girlfriend, your lover, has been kidnapped. Boom, boom, boom. And at this point in the game, at this point in the game, you are essentially trying to recover. If you've ever watched the TV show Twin Peaks, you'll get a very strong connection with that from this.
Okay.
It's basically your writing starts coming to life, and you start finding manuscript pages that you wrote that are kind of telling you what's my face. Telling you what's coming. Yeah, so now I'm like, oh god, it's coming again. Oh, bam!
Right in the chops.
So it ricocheted off and nailed me right in the face. There you can see a manuscript page. So the game plays out that you're trying to get her back, and it's such an atmospheric game, and it shares a lot in common with the previous game, Walking Dead. The story in this game. Alan Wake, I did the AFG video, and then I literally could not put this game down. That was it. I did the AFG, I went to bed. The next day I was like, I'm going to play some more of this. Done. Couldn't put it down.
Played all the way through.
Start to finish. Straight through.
It's rare a game picks you up like that, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was phenomenal. And it's even rarer still that I'm going to go back and play this again. Like, I couldn't put this down after recording this footage at all. And it was like, no, I want to go back to the start.
So is that because
and do it again?
Is that more a case of because it's just a really solid game, or is it a case of it's got like branching choices with legitimate replay value?
No, there is no choices in this game. It's fairly linear.
There's more collectible. There's collectibles, which I guess you could make a better run of.
There's the coffee thermoses
and
and some achievements like seeing. Well, you also have Nightmare mode, which is locked at the start, which you have to play the game through once to get, and then there's more manuscript pages and stuff in Nightmare mode that are only in Nightmare mode.
I see, right. So some of the
which I complained about at the time, but I'm gonna still complain about. If I'm brutally honest, I don't want to, but I am going to. That sucks dick, and you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I shouldn't use language like that, but you shouldn't force someone to play through a game twice just to get the collectibles. Sorry, no.
Not just that, to lock it to a higher difficulty, because if it is beyond somebody's level of skill, you're locking them out of story because of their level of skill, and that's unfair.
Especially when it's things like the manuscript pages. Yeah, what a great way of dealing with stuff now. It's like throw a flashbang. Bam. Especially when it comes to things like the manuscript pages, which do hold story in them. And they do give you a bit more information about what's going on.
That's
to
it,
have
more
those
of the law,
taken away. That was the thing. But I just... Alan is such a massive douche, if I'm honest. But you can agree and sympathize with the character in certain points. Sympathize not too much. More just the case of you can, you know, your heart feels for him a little bit when it comes to like he's trying to he's trying to do what he's doing. And yes, he's the arrogant dick writer in places. He is. But he's so good at it.
Right.
And everything plays out in this very TV episode-esque way. Like, you know, I mentioned, you know, Twin Peaks, and you can see him there. Like, there's narration, and the game is split up into chapters, and at the end of each chapter, credits roll. And
there's
then the next
TV
chapter
shows as well on the TV.
Yes,
what's the TV show called?
Night Springs.
Yeah, it's like a, you know, like a
Twilight Zone style show.
Style thing, yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah, I see. Try and drive the car over it.
Yeah. But no, so, you know, it's split up into episodes, and at the end of each episode you get the credits roll, and at the next episode start, it literally like is like chapter 2, and gives you the name of chapter 2, and then it's like previously on Alan Wake. And it's like, my name is Alan Wake. My girlfriend was kidnapped, and it actually runs through, and it will show you like bits from the first one, from the cutscenes in the first chapter. But it's done in such a way that when an episode ends, you can tell what I'm about to try and do.
Yeah.
When an episode ends, it ends in a way that you actually enjoy the fact that it ended. Invisible Walls. And when the next chapter starts, it gives you that new kind of momentum to keep going.
Yeah.
It's like a reset button.
That's pretty good. I'm seeing a few games these days starting to do that whole, here's what happened last time you were playing. Which I do like, because I will sometimes put down a game for a week, 2 weeks, and come back going, what was I doing?
Especially when it's a very story-driven game. I think it's very kind of helpful for when you have got to put it down. Helps you get back into the flow and get the emotional state you had going before back.
And especially with how atmospheric this looks, I can see myself, if I was to pick this up, kind of having to put it down and be all like, yeah, done for tonight. I need something happy and fluffy.
Yeah. Need to go watch Kittens.
The great thing is that also means, you know, if there is a certain part of the game you want to replay, if you pick it up and play through that bit, it will surmise the story for you up to that point, so you know what's going on.
Yeah, so you can come back to a point and it makes sense again.
And the story was fantastic. The DLC expanded, but the way that the DLC was done was perfect. And I'm apprehensive to use that word.
Say, that's a bit of a...
The game ends. The game ends at the end of Alan Wake. The game ends. It ends. And then the DLC picks up again from that ending. And then continues. And then ends. So you can literally not play the DLC. And still have an ending.
A definitive, yeah.
And then you can pick up the DLC. And you have an ending.
I'm just watching the background here. You just turned the power off. That means all the lights go out.
Yeah, and watch this. This is impressive.
Wow.
It spat me out the car. I'm not sure how that worked. But yeah, I'm apprehensive to use the word, but that's the way DLC should be. It expanded the story, but in a way that if you don't have it, it doesn't matter too much. You're not missing anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like they've taken a bit of the picture out.
And cut it off to later sell it as DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The game works in its nice tidy little package. The DLC just adds stuff. It's brilliant. Anyway, we should move on to the final game on my list, I feel. Are you ready for this?
What?
Are you ready for this? So, the third game on my list, Black Ops 2. What's with the ers?
Really?
Really?
Black Ops 2. What's with the ers?
Black Ops 2? What do you mean, what's with the ers?
What was with the ers? It's the greatest shooter of all time. No?
I can only assume that somebody slipped something in your tea.
No? Are you not happy with that?
Bribed by
Okay,
Surge?
okay. I'll pick another game and let's have a character introduce it for us.
There was this priest that used to come around the orphanage, Father Alonso. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, that it ain't that kind of story. Anyway, must have been about 1,000 years old or something, real fire and brimstone type of guy. Used to tell us kids that hell wasn't some bullshit story they made up to keep us in line. It was fucking real. A fucked up place, where all the deadbeats, hookers, dealers, and junkies all ended up. And if we weren't careful, that's exactly where we were gonna go. Fuck. If only it were that easy.
Jackie Estacado.
Nice.
How's this then? Of course, Black Ops 2 wasn't on my top 3 list.
Yeah, I figured as much. Either this is a wind up or somebody has put something in the tea.
This, like, I know we were saying that all 3 games in our lists are even. They're all on par with each other, and you know we don't have a tiering list. This for me was game of my year, hands down, bar none. Not even Alan Wake came close. This was my game, Darkness 2. And it does get a little gory, I have to
Yeah, kind of noticed that.
A little late on that warning.
Now, yeah. So, Darkness 2 saw you retaking the role as Jackie Estacado. And if you've seen the AFG of me playing this, I can surmise it in the fact that I essentially make girly noises for 20 minutes while saying that I have never played any game like this. I've never had so much fun in my life. It was like a 5-year-old child had been let loose in Toys R Us.
Yeah, I get the same distinct feeling when I play the game, to be fair. It's a very, very good game. It's extremely enjoyable.
Even when playing this footage, I have still got that wonderful glowy feeling inside me of, this is so fun. I don't know how to describe it, it's just glee. That's the closest thing I can think of putting it to it, is glee. So I'm showing off the skill trees a little. See, of course, Darkness 2 sees you taking the role of Jackie Estacado again for the second game, and it takes place 2 years after the first one. And you have this darkness inside you. Trying not to give spoilers on the story on this one, because it's so good. But you have this darkness inside you, and you can see it there, the army things. And the story is that these guys are trying to take it from you, and the darkness does not want to go. The darkness is not a nice thing. It's manipulative, it's evil, it's abusing you. However, you are a bad guy. You are not a nice person. You are a gangster. You kill people. You do bad things. You are not a nice person, and it just kind of agrees with you in that way. It's like, no.
It's kind of helpful in your line of work.
Yeah, pretty much. Especially when lots of people want you dead, and the darkness doesn't want to let you go. It's really helpful.
You're a good host.
Yes. But I picked this up, and I wasn't expecting anything from it, if I'm brutally honest. I wasn't expecting anything. I was expecting to pick it up and be like, oh, here we go. I've played Darkness 1, and it was alright. And, you know, Darkness 2, it'll be a fun game to, you know, do a video on. You can see right there. That was tame.
Not so much there.
No, that was cutting a guy in half. That was still pretty tame to some of the stuff you can do in this game.
Oh, yes. See, I didn't play the original Darkness at all. I just played this one. And it took me totally by surprise. I had an immense amount of fun.
Even arm throw. Are we going to do some of this one? Yes. Are we going to do my favourite? Yep, here you go. Bam! Execution. Yes, Kel. Do you have something you want to say?
I just... What?
Yes, you pulled his spine out. Yes, through a rather painful area.
Right, yeah. That's impressive. Like, how much variety is there in the way you can kill things? You said that one's your favourite. I'm guessing there's more.
Quite a bit.
There are a few more.
Objects lying around. You can use a lot of there's a lot of environmental interaction.
Oh god.
Yeah. There's a few different objects that you can slice people and impale them and stab them and shoot them and all this kind of thing. But the executions, I believe, there's you could see the way like the little circle of 4, and you can essentially choose to execute them and you'll get different things. You can execute them, get shield. You can execute them, get health, ammo, and depending on how you're holding them, will determine the way that you execute them.
Oh, that's nice. So
it all depends on how you grab the guy in the first place.
Yeah. But there you can see the Darkness talking, and it's one of those things. That voice for me just gets me every time. Yeah. Like there is nothing I have loved more this year than just hearing the Darkness randomly just go Jackie. There you go. There's another one. Bam.
Wow.
And that guy is huge on my screen for some reason. I was just like, let's just mess him up. Let's just give him a bad day.
Eating all the hearts.
Yeah. See, there's a relic I didn't notice through on my first playthrough.
Yeah.
But the game is just fun.
Yeah. They grabbed the fan out of the air conditioning unit there, holding it in one of the demon arms.
Yeah.
Pity the next guy.
See, the Darkness is actually yelling at you. You and the Darkness do not get on. You actually tried at the end of the first game to stop using it, and you succeeded. Like at the beginning of the second game, you essentially aren't using it, and it saves your life. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Right.
It's die or use your Darkness.
Yeah, and of course you are a selfish dick. You don't want to die. As I just did.
Nice timing.
Flesh is weakness.
Yeah, there you go. See, flesh is weakness, and then it respawns you. But see, this is what games are meant to be. This is why I love this game. Games are meant to be fun, whether it's about the journey or the destination or the people you're playing with or the story it's trying to tell you or the characters that you interact with. They're just meant to be fun. And to me, that's what this game was. Which one are we doing here? Stomach whip. See, nice and simple. Straight through.
Okay, but
if a game is not fun, then it's failed.
So looking at Darkness 2, yeah, I can see myself definitely picking this up, playing it, and probably loving it.
Yeah,
do you have to have played the first one?
No.
I didn't. I haven't played the first one at all, and I got the idea of what was going on, and...
It gives you... The story and the relics that you find give you the backstory of the Darkness itself. Not from Darkness 1, but of the actual entity known as the Darkness.
Okay.
And so you can find out... Yeah, you can find out about the lore from collecting the relics and talking to one of the best characters in the game. Who Xander will know all about. The stuttering guy.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes, oh, he's awesome.
He is. And he is fantastic. And you learn from him the lore of the Darkness, and you find out from Jackie, you know, some of the stuff about the first game. But you can go into this without having played the first one, and you can fall in love with it. Of course, yes, I'll admit, there's swearing, there's gore, it's slightly... You could say that it's immature, because, you know, it's gory, but it's based on a comic book, you know, it's based on the Darkness graphic novels and stuff, and... Here we go. Ready, line it up. He shoots. Bam! He scores. He shoots. Bam! He scores. So, it's It's gory, it's brutal, it's filled with swear words, it's filled with crass stuff, but that's what Jackie is. Yeah, that's what Jackie is. It doesn't pull any punches. And it's not meant to, because that's the world that Jackie lives in. Like, he's a mobster. He was a hitman for the mob in the first game, and now he's running the crime family that he's part of. Like, that's just, you know, you can't do something like that and have people being like, oh, fudge. I'll fudging talk to your parents.
Yeah, wait till I tell your mother. That's not gonna work.
Yeah, that's not how it works. It has to be brutal and gory, and it's just like, that is how this is. You are part of a mob. Of course someone's going to want you dead. Another execution. Bam! And you get the shield, and your little minion will help you out. And unfortunately, I missed.
Didn't you?
Yeah. So that was my top game of last year. Was Darkness 2.
Greg. Nice.
So there you go. If you're after a game that you can simply just play for fun's sake, the story's decent. It's nothing Oscar-winning, but it's good.
Yeah, it's entertaining, and it's very, very, very fun to play.
That's all you want.
Yep.
Is a decent story.
Bam!
A decent story.
That's one of my favourite ones as well. The Wishbone. So good. Yeah, the guns are a little lacking, but in a game like this, you're not going to use the guns. Who would use the guns? You have the darkness.
Yeah.
So much better. So there you go. That was my top 3 list. And hopefully you guys are going to go pick up the darkness. Because it's worth it.
You're going to play through it again now.
Yeah, more than likely.
There you go. If you have any questions, queries, or comments, or you want to let us know what your top 3 are, please do so over on the Facebook page. We have a top 3 thing running at the moment.
Yeah.
From myself, from Mr. Fluke, from Mr. Kel. We hope you had a fantastic 2012. Hope you enjoyed the games. And we'll catch you next year. Peace.
In a while.
Stay awesome.